Next at 11, tracking the tropics. Potential tropical cyclone 5 is getting better organized out in the Atlantic. Our first warning weather team will bring us the latest projected track. Plus, 2 people shot at an apartment complex in Sanford. What investigators say led up to the shooting as police look for the man who pulled the trigger. Plus,
I thought for sure they'd have to postpone, the first day at least by 2 or 3 days. But somehow they got it done. And that's good.
Parents are left scrambling as 2 new Orange County public schools will now open just in time for students to start classes tomorrow.
Local, live, late-breaking. WESH 2 News starts now.
All right, up top at 11, we are tracking the tropics. That potential tropical cyclone 5 becoming more organized at this hour and is likely to become a tropical storm before reaching the Leeward Islands. Our first warning meteorologist, Marquise Mita, has been tracking the latest on this system. He is joining us live right now with the latest advisory. What's going on, Marquise?
Well, the 11 o'clock advisory just dropped, Luana, and we haven't seen much significant change. Wind speeds are still fastest at 30-mile-per-hour conditions, and we see the overall system moving towards the west and the northwest at 23 miles per hour. Its pressure stands at 1,009 millibars. The deeper the pressure, the stronger the system, and we'll see some change coming up in the next 24 to 48 hours. In fact, we already have tropical storm watches in place for the Leeward Islands. As heavy rainfall, it's what's going to be heading that direction as we move across the start of your work week, and then we could perhaps see that heavy rainfall into Puerto Rico by the middle of the work week. Here's what we got going on. We're likely to see your next named storm now by Monday morning. So that's happening a little bit quicker as opposed to the 8 o'clock advisory. As we continue over time, that cone of uncertainty does move over Puerto Rico on Wednesday, and by Wednesday in the evening, we could have a Category 1 hurricane. Thankfully, that turn towards the north is going to keep us away from the heavy rain and the gusty winds of a perhaps Category 2 late on Friday. But here in Central Florida, we're still likely going to see those strong high wave heights as we do see some increased winds across the Atlantic. Thankfully, the GFS and the Euro, they're almost neck and neck. So your global models are still indicating that turn towards the north, keeping us well away from the storm, but we're not completely away from its impacts as we are anticipating some high waves towards the end of the work week here in Central Florida. But we're also anticipating some warm temperatures as we head back to school, and we'll have that forecast coming up for you next time I see you.
All right. Thank you, Marquise. New at 11, 2 people are safe tonight after they crash-landed their plane into Crescent Lake in Crescent City. FHP says the plane was being flown from New York to Winter Haven when the engine stopped. The pilot and co-pilot were able to get out to safety, all thanks to people who were living near there. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The FAA and the NTSB have been notified. Sanford police are looking for a shooting suspect. The shooting happened at an apartment complex on Bearwood Lane this morning. Investigators say Santana Sutton shot his ex-girlfriend in the eye and another man in the arm. This one happened after an argument. Sutton already has active warrants out for his arrest. If you know where he is, you're asked to call law enforcement. Volusia County deputies have arrested a second teenager in a deadly shooting. Deputies say a 17-year-old girl, her 15-year-old brother, and another 15-year-old friend decided to buy a quarter-pound of weed out in Pearson last week. According to the sheriff, somewhere along the line, they decided to take the drugs by shooting the person selling them. A 17-year-old boy was killed. An 18-year-old was also shot, but is expected to recover. Looking ahead, jury selection is set to start tomorrow for the woman charged with shooting and killing her neighbor. Susan Lorenz is charged with manslaughter for killing A.J. Owens outside of her home in Marion County in June. Today, the state and defense discussed what evidence would be allowed in court. The defense wants to exclude any of Lorenz's interrogation where it references whether she's ever called Owens's children a racial slur or slaves. The judge agreed to allow some of that interview, saying it explains why Lorenz was in fear. Meanwhile, WESH 2 will be in the courtroom tomorrow morning covering that trial every step of the way. We'll bring you the latest updates right here on air and online at WESH.com. A boil water notice is in place for people living in Flagler Beach tonight. It impacts people living on South Central Avenue and Ocean Palm Drive. We're told the water service was interrupted this morning due to a water main repair. It means that you should boil your tap water for the next 3 days. Two Orange County Public Schools will open just in time for students to start classes tomorrow. That's Luminary and Howard Middle Schools. They had construction and renovation delays that raised a few concerns, but WESH 2's Tonight Gebedigedige shows us how families got a sneak peek inside one of the buildings just hours before the first day of school. A new school year is beginning, so a local church is making sure students have the supplies they need to succeed. Christ Church of Orlando gave out supplies to students of all grade levels, everything from pencils to folders to notebooks. They're giving out free supplies to more than 100 students in the Orlando area. One of the pastors says they want to help students start the year off right, on the right foot.
We understand that there are a lot of families that are in need right now, and we have the opportunity to help. We think maybe set in order a great school year for our students. So we wanted to help as many people as we could.
Every year the need seems to grow in schools, and teachers need more supplies, students need more supplies, and so yeah, every year it seems to grow.
Everything was donated by the congregation. Christ Church of Orlando says they host this back-to-school event every year and also do frequent food drives for families in need. All right, get ready for school tomorrow and more traffic on the roadways and the yellow school buses. Yasmin Julmisi has the rules of the road that you need to know when school buses are also on the road. And once again, that was Yasmin Julmis reporting. If you pass a stopped school bus on the side where children get off and on, you can face a minimum fine of $265. And a reminder, typing into a handheld wireless device like your phone while driving in a school zone is illegal. Some good information there. Of course, the WESH 2 News Sunrise team, they will be awake and ready to help you and your kiddos go back to the class. We will have live team coverage starting Monday morning, starting at 4:30 in the morning. WESH 2 has been holding a series of debates ahead of the Florida primary elections, and one of those was for Florida State House District 33. District 33 covers part of Brevard County, largely in the area of Palm Bay, and from the Osceola County line east to the beaches. During the debate, the Republican candidates spoke about Amendment 3, which would legalize recreational marijuana.
This election, there's two main issues. There's insurance and there's illegal immigration. And does marijuana have an impact? You bet. It has an impact when it comes to illegal immigration.
If the voters vote for it, they vote for it because that's our right as citizens is to cast that vote. But I would not be for it.
We have enough drugs on the street as it is right now. Our sheriff says that fentanyl is the biggest problem that we have on the streets. So do we need to add to more to legalize marijuana? I don't think so.
You can watch the full debates on our website. They're all under the Commitment 2024 tab. Well, the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris are officially in the books. Still ahead tonight, we'll have a recap of today's competition and closing ceremony. And SpaceX scrubbing a launch with just 46 seconds left on the countdown clock this morning when the agency hopes to attempt a second launch. Plus,
we're lucky because the force of the explosion kind of went just to the right of us.
A home explodes, leaving 2 people dead and others injured. What investigators say led up to that blast and how neighbors are reacting. That's coming up next.
This is Kellyanne. She's your morning meteorologist and Central Florida's certified most accurate.
No matter the forecast, I've got your day covered.
Start your day with meteorologist Kellyanne Class and WESH 2 First Warning Weather.
Welcome back tonight. Crews just found a second body in the rubble after a home exploded in Maryland. Just look at the debris scattered across the street. Utility workers with Baltimore Gas and Electric were called to a neighborhood about a suspected gas leak. Shortly after they got there, a home exploded. A neighbor was also hurt and several homes were damaged. Others described the moments after the blast.
The front door actually went through this above the house next door and landed in our backyard. And again, everything shattered in the backyard, inside the house. But we're lucky because the force of the explosion kind of went just to the right of us. And we're being told that the home was up for sale.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has confirmed that Ukrainian troops are now fighting inside of Russia. It is the first time Ukraine acknowledged its troops were conducting an offensive in Russia. It marks the first time Russia has been invaded since World War II. The Ukrainian assault began on Tuesday when nearly 1,000 troops crossed the border. Russia has responded by bombing its own land. Meanwhile, President Zelensky says Russian forces started a fire at the Russian-controlled Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. You can see a large plume of smoke and flames coming out of the tower. Zelensky said radiation indicators were normal. Ukrainian officials say Russian forces set tires on fire in the cooling tower. Russia says a Ukrainian drone strike is responsible for the fire. Meanwhile, SpaceX scrubbed Starlink launch with just 46 seconds left on the countdown clock this morning. SpaceX says the Falcon 9 and payload are doing all right. SpaceX says it will try to launch again tomorrow morning at 6:37. We'll be sure to watch sunrise to see the launch live right here on WESH 2 News. All right, time now to check in with our forecast and Marquise Mita. Tomorrow we got a big day ahead of us. School is starting. Lots is going on. It's wonderful.
We got everything going on tomorrow, right? We got a Falcon 9 launch. We've got school starting. I think that school is coming earlier and earlier every single year.
Right, it just feels like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But the launch is happening early tomorrow morning. We're about 7 hours out. Launch window starts at 6:37. This is the Falcon 9 Starlink 10-7, in which it looks like we're going to be green to go weather-wise. I know we cut it down to the wire, scrubbing the launch with 46 seconds left in the countdown earlier this morning. But as far as the weather is concerned, that should not be a problem tomorrow. Tonight, though, at the Kennedy Space Center, what we got going on are mostly cloudy skies. Oh, looks like we cleared up in just a brief moment's time. 78 degrees, though, and we do see winds from the south and the west at 6-mile-per-hour conditions. Relative humidity, that sticks out to me, 91%, and we'll see 90s or perhaps even 100% values all across the I-95 corridor as we settle into the evening. Elsewhere across I-75, we're a little bit warmer. 81 in Ocala, 81 in the Villages, and when we show 80 on the dot for Wildwood and Leesburg, 76 as you work your way into the metro, but that's where your relative humidity is a touch higher. 97% values here across I-4, and we mentioned that some of us will show 100% values like New Smyrna Beach, where your temperatures and dew points are identical. Elsewhere tonight, we do show a couple chances for some clouds moving in from the south across Orange County. And at Titusville, you might see a brief sprinkle of rain. But here's where we had the heaviest showers earlier today. Looks like 2 to 3 inches just south of Cocoa Beach. As you head further south into Mico, 3+ inches of rain touched down today. And that's all due to those afternoon and early evening showers. Thankfully, tomorrow's rain is going to be located in a different spot. It's out towards I-75 and I-4 as you move further south across Polk County. That's where we'll see the heaviest precipitation, but out towards the Leeward Islands, you're gearing up for heavy rainfall. This is a potential tropical cyclone 5. This will be our next named storm, perhaps even Monday it'll get its name. Right now, the wind speeds are at 30-mile-per-hour conditions. Overall movement is to the west and the northwest at 23 miles per hour. Now, this system will intensify. We already are showing the organization of a cluster of showers and storms, and the water temperatures this time of year are pretty high, anywhere between 3 and 4+ degrees above their seasonal average. And the warmer the water, the greater the instability. Good news for us in Central Florida, though, is that this potential tropical cyclone, after it gets its name, is going to travel into the Caribbean, but then shoot towards the north. The steering flow behind this is a system of high pressure. The Bermuda High is what we call it, and that's what's guiding this potential Category 2 hurricane out towards St. George in the Bermuda, where we could see wind speeds of 110 miles per hour. That'll still have an effect on us here in Central Florida. We could show increased wave heights towards the end of the work week and across your weekend. But what we show tonight, our temperature stalling in the mid and the upper 70s. Day planner for tomorrow shows us back into the mid 90s with about a 40 to 50% chance for some showers into the afternoon tomorrow. We could see another perhaps inch of precipitation. And then day after day throughout the early work week, what we're showing is that system of low pressure to our north and east, bringing the feels-like conditions back to 104 and 105 degrees as we factor in the heat and the humidity. Actual temperatures do show 95 tomorrow on the first day of school, 1 degree warmer on Tuesday. And then on the back of the forecast, we start to cool down. We'll be back towards your seasonal average of 92 degrees coming up on Friday.
All right, thank you, Marquise. Well, the Olympic flame has officially been extinguished in an elaborate closing ceremony to wrap up the Summer Games. And now preparations are underway for the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. NBC's Liz McLaughlin is in Paris with the latest highlights.
All right, everyone, tonight in sports, it is Sunday after all, so how about a little football? Who and what we're keeping an eye on after the Bucs preseason opener. Plus, NASCAR returning to Richmond tonight as the postseason looms near. Who came out on top is next in sports.
This First Morning Weather Update is sponsored by attorney Dan Newlin.
Back to school.
Back to a new routine.
Back to what matters to get your day going.
Right here on WESH 2 News Sunrise.
The news and information that's happening now.
Your weather from drop-off to pickup.
And which roads to avoid for a smooth commute.
Start your school day with WESH 2 News Sunrise. Your live eye in the sky, covering breaking news in Central Florida. This is Chopper 2, and it's only on WESH 2 News. Local, live, late breaking. WESH 2 Sports is sponsored by Mullinax Ford. Shop Mullinax, where you'll find 0% financing and 3,000 new Fords on sale during the summer sales event. Now, WESH 2 Sports, sponsored by Mullinax Ford.
Bucs football is here. Hey, everybody, I'm Kristen Lago. The Buccaneers opened the preseason last night. Yes, sans their starters. However, head coach Todd Bowles pretty happy leaving the jungle with a 17-14 win against the Bengals. We got our first taste of offensive coordinator Liam Cohen's new system, as well as our first look at Bucs rookie center Graham Barton, who made his first start. Now, just 3 races remain before the playoffs. NASCAR will return to Daytona in 2 weeks for the Coke Zero Sugar 400. We'll be back.
Time and Temp brought to you by Boniface Hires, warranty forever. Thank you.
Welcome back. Some memories you just do not forget, and that's the case for 193-year-old Wisconsin man John Bennett is recounting his experience winning silver at the 1956 Olympics in Melbourne. He was just 26 years old when he won in the long jump, jumping more than 26 feet. He's now retired and enjoying life with his wife. All right, before we say goodnight, let's check in with First Morning meteorologist Marquise Mita. Marquise, the kiddos are heading off to the classroom tomorrow. What can they expect?
It's going to be warm the second they step outside the door. Wake-up temperatures on Monday morning, Luana, those are back in the mid and the upper 70s, 77 at the common number, all across the I-4 corridor from Daytona to Winter Haven. But as they continue throughout the day, it's the feels-like temperatures that kids are returning home from school with that'll hit 104 and 105-degree conditions. That's a factor in the heat and the humidity. Now, the actual reading on your thermometer will show 95 in the afternoon. It will show a couple showers and storms scattered across the I-4 corridor. Heading into Tuesday, 96 for your high, so we're a little bit warmer, but thankfully we slowly start to cool down, right? We'll see a wind shift taking place here in Central Florida, more of a north and westerly flow, and that'll drop your temperatures towards seasonal averages. We'll wrap with 92-degree highs on Friday.
All right, thank you, Marquise. Remember that you can wake up with the WESH 2 News Sunrise crew. It starts at 4:30 in the morning. They'll give you the overnight news, first warning weather, and traffic you need to get your day started just right. That'll do it for our newscast tonight. Have a wonderful and blessed night and a wonderful start to this new school year. We'll see you later.